Welcome to Dead Headspace Spotlights. This is a mini episode, Dead Headspace, with a read-in. Today, we are talking to the author of Pteranodon Canyon, Tim Myers. Say hi, Tim.
Howdy.
And of course, that's appropriate. And of course, I am your host, Patrick R. McDonough, joined always by my co-host, Brennan Farrow. Oh my God, I love that coffee mug. Say hi, Brennan.
I'm just going to admire the coffee mug. Hello.
It's a good coffee mug.
Come on, man. Be professional. Tim, I'm very silly. Sorry, Tim. Tell us what you're reading today.
Tonight I am going to read from my latest book, Pteranodon Canyon, which comes out April 22nd. Everywhere books are sold, in paperback and ebook. So,
I just finished that today.
Oh,
yeah, I really enjoyed it. I'll keep it to bullet points. Thought it was a great ride from the very beginning. It reminded me of so many things from like our collective childhood. Like I love Jurassic Park. A big game that I loved growing up was the Turok, the Dinosaur Hunter series.
yes, Turok. Love Turok.
And of course, like we're all horror fans, so it had the blood and guts in. It wasn't. You did something interesting, and after I make this comment, Brennan, please jump in. You did something interesting where it really is a balancing act of if there's too much blood, it could be comical, but I thought you did a good job balancing out the funness, but not being silly. Brennan, take us away, sir.
No, you mentioned Jurassic Park, and that's exactly the vibe I got from that. And even to your comment about the balance of of blood and guts without going overboard. I mean, I feel like Jurassic Park pulled that off, and maybe it's just because we are about that age. I think I would have been 8 when Jurassic Park came out. It's one of the very first movies that I have a really like vivid memory of going to see in the theaters. It's just, absolute game changer. Yeah. So I had to imagine that was a huge influence, on deciding that your Western needs dinosaurs. So tell us a little bit about that. Was that a formative movie for you?
Oh yeah, Jurassic Park was huge for me. I was also, I think, 8 when that movie came out, and it was just everywhere. And already being obsessed with dinosaurs as a kid, it was just so huge in my life. And I don't think I've ever worn out a VHS cassette except for that one. Like I literally had to buy like 2 or 3 of those because I just watched that movie so much. So yeah, that's a huge influence on me, man. A lot of my stuff is influenced from Jurassic Park.
And he has a Jurassic Park VHS behind him too.
Oh yeah. How appropriate.
That's not on purpose. I will never get over how the special effects from a movie in 1993 like absolutely blow away like well over half of the stuff that comes out today. It's nuts.
I forget who I was talking to like recently, literally about the same thing. And it's just, I think they just knew what they were doing, But it is like when it is weird, like when you watch The Lost World, like I feel like the graphics are still better than the first one, and that movie's came out 4 years after, and it's the same team, still Spielberg. So it's just weird how it still holds up better. I don't know. It's magic. It's movie magic.
But like even you got like 93 and let's say 97, and then you've got like the reboot quills or whatever the hell they are that came out 5 years ago that look like hot garbage in comparison. Yeah.
I think they still look pretty good, but yeah, you can definitely tell there's more CGI than I don't even think there's. I would dare to say that I don't think there's any practical like dinosaur effects in the newer ones, where they did a mixture of both. You had Stan Winston working on the original, and I think that helps a lot.
Yeah,
why
absolutely.
It holds up so well. So.
Well, I mean, as horror fans, we always, hold up those 1980s practical effects in high regard, and take that into the dinosaur subgenre. It's got a lot going for it as well.
Absolutely.
So at this point, Tim, would you like to jump into your read and then we'll talk about the book?
Yeah, I'm gonna do a long 2.5 hour reading. So strap in, fellas. No, I'm just kidding. I'm gonna do a quick reading. This is in the beginning of the book. It follows the two main characters who are bounty hunters, and they've just got offered a very lucrative job from the United States government. And as soon as that happens, two tyrannosaurs attack the town. So this kind of picks up like right there. So here we go. From the saloon's front window, Charlie Archer watched the bull take down the watchtower in a single effortless nudge. The feat was impressive, and he now knew the beasts were hunting, not scavenging tonight. Hunting for themselves, for the nests they had left behind. In his experience, tyrannosaurs were primarily scavenger types, not much for hunting. But sometimes desperation called, and the beasts had to do what they had to do in order to stay atop the food chain. I'm going to go check on our friend, Nellie said, releasing her twin revolvers from the leather holster's captivity. Don't go out there, Charlie warned. Seriously, those tyrannosaurs are on the hunt, and they'll take everything they can get, even a skinny little thing like you. What a compliment, she said, rolling her eyes. That the best you got? For the moment. Check back when a few blocks down from a couple of man-eating gargantuans. Come with me. She nodded at the small hotel across the way and slightly diagonal from their current position. Of course, they would have to travel toward the tyrannosaurs in order to reach the establishment. But the mom and pop were currently occupied, chewing on their first kill, crunching the town's lookout between their powerful jaws. Wouldn't be long before they finished and moved on to their next snack. The window of opportunity was closing and closing quickly. Let's just make sure Smitty's all right. It will put my mind to ease, and I'll track knowing better the paperwork is in order. Can't see the sense in it. She didn't seem to take offense to that statement. Instead, she continued to watch the two beasts devour their reward. I really need that money, Mr. Archer. I really do, and I don't think a man like you could understand. Need the money? I think a big celebrity gunfighter like you wouldn't need any. You'd be surprised. And she was right about that. He was surprised. He thought she'd earn a pretty penny in those shootout tournaments, not to mention some of the bounties she collected on the side. She wasn't as prolific as he was in that department, but she'd made a name for herself among the bounty hunter community. Maybe she had a drug problem or an alcohol problem. Gambling? Shit. He could name at least 10 in his inner circle who had at least one of those three. Most of them had two of those problems. It was common. Maybe she was in deep with some vicious, unforgiving sharks, and this coin from Washington was her only way out. It was a hell of a lot of money. Hell of a lot. But Charlie saw past the dollar signs. He only saw the name Francis Burner. All right, he said, giving up. Such was the way with Charlie Archer and beautiful women. Let's see him through this, make sure he doesn't meet the teeth of our new friends. Thank you. The two of them stood and then headed out into the moonlit drag of Oak Creek. That's it. That's the reading.
All
Thanks,
right,
guys.
man. So, yeah. Well, thank you for doing some reading for us.
Yeah, no problem.
Now you've written, stories with dinosaurs before. I know you have Primal Terra, at least. But is this kind of your first foray into Western?
Yeah. This is the first Western thing I think I've ever written. I mean, I don't even think I might have written like a flash fiction piece, like a Western piece for Patreon back when I had a Patreon, but that was like kind of abstract and not like a straightforward Western. So this was like my first Western, and I had a blast writing it. It was really fun.
Yeah, it's one of those books you read it and you can just tell that you had fun writing it.
Yeah, definitely had fun writing it.
Well, now I'm thinking that you've kind of outed yourself as a dinosaur kid. I feel like there probably wasn't a ridiculous ton of research as far as the dinosaurs go. Maybe you just had that in your head already. But as far as the Western, the historical aspect of it, how much research did you do, and what's your process for that? Do you write and then go back, or do you kind of work through in pieces?
Yeah, so that was kind of my biggest worry going into this thing, was because I wanted to write something that felt like it actually took place in the Old West, just with dinosaurs in it. So I kind of wanted to be pretty accurate, but also, I mean, it has fucking dinosaurs in it, so I didn't really need to be that accurate. So I did like some research on locations and like some territories and things like that. Just you, you know, figures back then, and then laws, because the whole the main plot of the book is that the two characters, or it ends up being three characters, they go to stop this gang of outlaws that are poaching pteranodons. And I like, the whole book hinges on this. And I was always thinking to myself, like, was poaching like ever illegal back then? Did they even like care about that stuff? And so like research led me to discover that they didn't give a shit about animals, and nobody like really cared about animals, or at least like killing them and them possibly going extinct until like much later in the timeline. So like that kind of like put a damper on things. But then I was like, you know what? It's my crazy dinosaur western book. I'm gonna do what I want. And if you read the book, like there's actually a reason behind it that comes like later, that kind of just came out of nowhere, but that eventually ended up saving all the things I was worried about, how it couldn't be realistic, if that any of that makes sense.
It does if you read it.
Yeah. It's a nice fallback too, if you have that ornery reader who, hey, this model of pistol didn't exist in 1870. It's like, well, it's dinosaurs,
There's
man.
dinosaurs
like,
in it,
get
man.
over it.
Yeah.
How mad are you gonna be?
You gotta be historically accurate with your dinosaur western. No.
So, fun fact, since we're talking about dinosaurs, Marco Polo, in his book The Travels of Marco Polo, he he lived during the 13th century, so it's not crazy far from now. I mean, it's like 700 years ago, but he even recorded that I believe it was the Chinese had, he called them serpents, but it kind of led to think of dragons or dinosaurs, that they were basically like I guess a horse or an elephant to use as transportation. And I'm only saying it's only 700 years ago because I mean it sounds like it could have been, if that is accurate, at least a very close ancestor to a dinosaur. So that's kind of cool, going on your point of like, yeah, it's an alternate history, but I mean, you never know. You never know, like that one thing that could have wiped them out, if that one comet or whatever didn't come, what would life be like now? It'd be terrifying.
Yeah. Yeah, we probably wouldn't exist if that happened. We wouldn't be around, maybe, I think. But because I think the climate was so different back then that like there would be no possible way for us and these animals to coexist. But it is interesting to think about if it did happen. So that's kind of where this was born.
Yeah, I mean, definitely different oxygen levels and different I'm sure different heat, different levels of heat, and bacteria and other things of that nature. Like bugs back then, who knows if one bite could have just totally fucked you up.
Yeah. Yeah, bugs back then were like a size of a horse.
Not interested, thank you. So your main characters in here, Charlie, Finn, and Eleanor, I wonder, were any of them even loosely based off like famous historical figures from the West, or are they, pure Meyer?
No, they were pure me. Yeah, I didn't really base them off of any actual historical, though. I mean, after even just reading that, like I kind of got for Nellie like echoes of like Calamity Jane, just like a little bit. And I think she's like such a fun historical character, and especially if you ever watched the HBO show Deadwood.
Deadwood, that's exactly what I thought of.
Yeah. I'm
fuck
like
up your day.
I fucking love that show so much, and like Calamity Jane in that is such a great character. But Nellie's not as crazy as Calamity Jane was in that show, but there's definitely like just some traces of her, and she's just like a strong, powerful lead.
Yeah, I absolutely loved reading her. Now, is that a character you would consider revisiting
Yeah.
in the future?
So it's funny. I do have a loose idea to continue like the series. It would be like a separate story based in the same, universe. But that could leave some opportunity open for some returning characters in it.
What about Pterodon Canyon? Why'd you go with that dinosaur?
I don't know. I just kind of came up with the name first. It was one of those like, oh, it'd be cool to write a dinosaur western and just call it Pteranodon Canyon. And then I kind of built the story around it. So that's, I guess, the easy answer. The second answer to that would just be like, because pteranodons are cool because like they just fly around. They got those big beaks. They just like they murder. They're awesome.
There's this one scene where they are holding up the beak, cut off beak, and juices are flowing out. And
Yeah, gross stuff.
yeah, and you relate it to milk.
Yeah. Can you not drink milk ever again now?
I mean, like I still can, but
You're not gonna like it. It's not gonna
I-
taste as good.
I don't know. I'm a little disturbed by that shit. So Tim, in here, when we're talking about things like that, is there? I did wonder if you did research. I don't even know how to put it into concise words. Things of that nature, where maybe it's not dinosaur, but there are certain traits, certain disgusting details of juices or whatever of an animal that you're like, yeah, that's going in this story.
I mean, I've never cut open a pteranodon's beak before, so there was no like firsthand research going into that. No, I know that's it's a good question. But no, I don't really research that stuff too deeply.
Has there been a kind of a wave of feedback on this book now?
Yeah, I mean, so far it's been like what you guys have pretty much said. It's just fun. It's just a fun, fast-paced thrill ride through the old west, but with dinosaurs. So yeah, the feedback so far has been great. The book hasn't been released yet, so only a handful of people have gotten arcs, a handful of reviewers. So feedback's been small so far, but that's okay. Once the book comes out, there'll probably be more of that. So
I really like how you just write whatever you want, and it's. I mean, I'm only going to list a few titles, but last year, *Malignant Summer* was a for those that don't know, coming of age story. I do remember at that book festival I saw you at.
yeah,
I specific like I think I was walking away or talking to one of the other fellows there, and there was a customer that asked you about *Malignant Summer*, and in my head, it brought me back to just thinking of how creepy that character is. And there was, since last we talked, I thought of a character from a childhood movie I saw that creeped me out, who Mother reminds me of, and that's Darkness Falls, the Tooth Fairy character.
okay, yeah,
In
I've seen
this,
that.
in the sense where it's like it's this female that is just, you can see her and she's just as terrifying, if not scarier, which isn't always easy to pull off with monsters because they're usually scarier when you're describing them and seeing the effects of how someone reacts to them.
Yeah,
But yeah, so we have *Malignant Summer*. You got your book *Limb*, which that thing's a fun, weird ride.
Limbs.
*Limbs*, *Switch House*, and now you're on *Pterodon Canyon*. And it's just, it's really cool seeing you kind of not hold back from what content you write about.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's I kind of plan it that way. I don't want to write the same thing every time. I don't want to always write like haunted house novels or demon possession novels, even though those are two of my favorite things to write about. but yeah, I mean, I've always admired careers like Joe R. Lansdale, who can just like write like a thriller to a crime thriller to write something like The Drive-In, which is just batshit crazy, like borderline bizarro. Um, and like I love that. I love like when writers can just write whatever they want and like have readers follow them too into those different territories. You might not like to read crime thrillers, but if you're a fan of Joe R. Lansdale's The Drive-In, you're probably going to pick up a Happen Leonard novel just because his writing's so phenomenal. So yeah, I like doing that stuff. I like, jumping between different subgenres. But I mean it all falls into the horror category for me. I don't see myself like ever writing like a romance novel or a cozy mystery novel. Not that, there's anything wrong with that, obviously. And I just might not do it like under my own name.
Gotcha.
Maybe you've already done it under
Maybe I
another name.
have.
I mean,
I'm not
you
telling.
are a prolific writer, so I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm not telling.
First off, I just want to give a shout out to Tim for so gracefully even, thanking Patrick for the question. Have you ever researched animal juices? That's a new one. I don't think you've ever asked anybody about that before. That's wild.
Gotta
I want to
say,
talk
I've
about.
never been asked that before in all the interviews I've done. So that's a first.
We're a show of firsts. I want to talk about the covers actually. So the paperback, the trade paperback that's coming out on the 22nd is Chad Lutzky, and he
Yes.
did such a cool job on that.
Did a very cool job.
Yeah.
And I want to hear a little bit about, what your back and forth with him, what you wanted, and, how the finished product turns out. But I hope you'll talk about the Thunderstorm version too, which sold out. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Because that's such a cool, like almost like retro movie poster feel to it.
Yeah, I for the Thunderstorm release, that one was actually done first. And Paul from Thunderstorm, he's came up with the artist. He got with the artist. David Acosta is his name, who did it. And he's done covers for Thunderstorm before. And he, like, Paul just messaged me and was like, "Hey, David, I think would do good with dinosaurs. He draws dinosaurs really well." So I was like, "Sure, whatever." I mean, Paul runs Thunderstorm so well, and he has such a good vision for covers and what things should look like. So I kind of just like was like, yeah, sure, whatever. Just he asked me, I think, for ideas, and I was just like, a canyon, some pteranodons, probably a cowboy, and maybe a T-Rex, and that was kind of it. That was like all I kind of put out there. And then I got like that gorgeous cover, and it's awesome. I actually want to get like a poster of it, like a huge poster, and just put it in my room. And then so I had another artist lined up to do the paperback version, but something came up with them. They had to drop out. And so I kind of needed something pretty quickly because we wanted to get the pre-order up for it. And Chad Lutzky has been kind of diving into doing some covers for a few folks. And I was just like, hey, if you want to take a crack at it, let me know. And he's like, I would love to. It sounds interesting. So I kind of gave him the same thing. I'm like, canyon, T-Rex, cowboy, pteranodons, make it happen. And he whipped this up, and it was almost perfect, like from the first, what he first showed me. Everything was perfect. We just had to like work out the colors, and so we went back and forth with a few color schemes and the font. I mean, I talked to Chad like pretty much every day, so it was easy to kind of like just go back and forth with him with stuff. Where sometimes with artists you only get to give them the original idea, then they run with it, and then you see it, and then you can make like small changes if you're lucky. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes it is what it is, and you don't get that option. But yeah, with Chad it was easy because we're just we're good friends, and we talk, like I said, almost every day, so it was constantly back and forth.
I just checked out the cover, the thunderstorm one. I don't think I saw that before. That's yeah, that'd be a really cool
That's
cover.
it's so cool. I love like the
Excuse me.
ginormous T-Rex with like the stuff hanging out of his mouth. It's awesome.
My that was a poster I'd get from my kid's room. He's super into dinosaurs.
Get
right
it for him. Get it for him.
now. Dude, where would I buy it?
Well, you could just download it, download the picture, and get it printed out at a Walmart if you wanted to.
That's true.
Make
Or
your own
That
poster.
sounds
yes.
illegal.
Is it? I don't
I have
think
no
so.
idea.
It sounds illegal, but it's probably not.
Just like coaching pteranodons, not
Exactly.
technically illegal.
Tim, what else do you got in the pipeline, man?
Oh man, what do I have in a pipeline? I kind of got the short story bug this year, so I've been spending a lot of time writing short stories, and I have so far 3 acceptances this year that will be coming out in 3 separate anthologies. I don't even know which ones I can talk about and which I can't talk about, so I'm not even going to try, but I'll post about it on social media when I get the official word. So I got that. I have a short story collection that's like in the pipeline with a potential publisher.
Nice.
Again, don't know what's going to exactly happen with that. But it's looking like it might happen. So there could be a short story collection coming out probably next year. Got possibly a couple novellas coming out that I also can't talk about. I just have like a lot of stuff that I can't talk about yet because like either the contracts aren't signed yet or they're just like waiting to be accepted, or they're signed and I just can't talk about them.
But people
But,
should be excited because there's stuff
People-
coming.
There's stuff coming, yeah. And then I have like 2 novels that are kind of ready to go also. Just trying to find homes for them. So yeah, it's exciting because there's a lot of stuff coming, and this is Pteranodon Canyon is like my first release, I think, since Malignant Summer last year. So it's been almost a year since I've had something new come out. And so that's very exciting. One thing I think I can talk about, I'm not sure. Kill Hill Carnage is getting re-released this year, probably before Scares I Care in July.
Nice.
That'll be coming out through Grindhouse Press.
Nice.
So yeah, really excited about that. The cover for that is amazing, and I can't wait to share that. So I wish I could share it with you, but I haven't gotten the permission to do that yet, so I won't. Trying to think what else I have like concrete. I think it's just that. I think it's just, a lot of short stories and a few things in the pipeline, so we'll see.
Awesome. Well,
But if you follow me on social media, I'll definitely tweet, Instagram, or Facebook about it.
Which leads us to, where can people follow you?
Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And I have a website, timmeyerwrites.com, where you can see me never blog about anything, but I'm there.
What's your handle on the social media platforms?
What is my handle? I think it's at Tim Meyer 11, but it's Tim M Meyer. So it's like 3 M's in there, because for some reason when I created them, like just Tim Meyer was taken, and I was like, that's stupid. I don't like that. But yeah, so I had to throw an M in there, and my middle name doesn't even start with an M. But I just thought I just thought the 3 M's together were a cool idea. So these are my thoughts.
Perfect. Brennan, you got anything to add before we say goodnight?
No, man, thanks for your time. And I hope that a lot of people check this out because it's a fun as hell book. I think a lot of people are going to dig it.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. I had fun talking about this book.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah. You got anything that you want to say before we close up there, Tim?
Me, no, just buy the book if you want to. if you don't want to, that's cool. I won't judge you.
Listeners, you have many choices in podcasts. Thanks for picking us.